Okay, welcome. We have a hometown hero presentation today. We have some former Prescott High School graduate, Cadet Levi Rosedahl, and his friend from West Point, David. What is your rank?
Cadet Private.
Cadet Private. Are you a Cadet Private too?
I am a Cadet Private.
All right, Cadet Private, David
Henderson.
And he's from Pennsylvania, and he will be telling you about what it's like to be at West Point. And you guys please think of some questions, and they will go through their presentation. Everybody give a round of applause, please.
Thank you very much, sir. As Colonel People said, I'm Levi Rosedahl. I was a graduate from Prescott High School at 2013. I was born here in Prescott. As he said, I attended Mile High and moved up to Prescott High School. While I was here, I was mainly involved in student council and worked a lot with ROTC, which was a great experience to learn along with them and work on events with them. 9th through 12th grade, I knew that I wanted to go to college, but I never really found something that was a great fit, a perfect fit, until I found West Point, and I worked very hard to get through the application process, working to meet the SAT, ACT requirements, and all the other extracurricular activities that they wanted to see potential cadets have. Misconceptions. When I was young, I know that the SAT and ACT, I don't think I really realized the importance of them when I was in high school. Going back, I probably wish I would have maybe studied a little more for them, gotten my scores higher. Those were, in applying to West Point, that was by far not by far, but that was the weakest point of my application. And it was one place that I would have liked to improve on myself in high school. Looking forward from here, my goal is to branch military police at this point. Of course, things can change. And the two majors that I'm looking at, which I'll declare in September, are electrical engineering and physics.
All right, so hey guys, I am David Henderson. I'm Levi's friend from West Point. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, or a small town right outside of it, but I figure you guys wouldn't know where that is. So
no, they have no clue. I'm going to show you where all this stuff is. Here, I'm going to bring up the content here, and we like to bring in geography here with our.
Definitely. Oh wow.
Did you ever know where Prescott, Arizona was?
I had no idea where Prescott, Arizona was. I knew where Phoenix was, and that's about it.
Pennsylvania is another country about 2,000 miles this way. All right, so there we go. I always say South Carolina. Let's see. So we live over here where I'm waving my hand, and they live way over here. This big square state named after William Penn, right?
Yes, it is.
It's actually Pennsylvania. Just north of Washington. It's actually famous in history, which you guys have taken, for Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, right, the Civil War. And Pittsburgh's over here on the west side. And what is interesting, guys, history of America, is that Pittsburgh was the western part of all America back when it began. That was the huge forest. They had a fort there, right?
They did, yes.
And so therefore that was that was where you went out and fought the Injuns out there in Pittsburgh, out here across the Appalachian Mountains, which were what the East Coast people call mountains, and they're dinky little molehills compared to the West Coast people. But back in the day, that kept us from going over there. So I'm telling you, where he's from is the wide open West in the 1700s.
It is not the wide open West anymore. Assure you of that.
Okay, so Pennsylvania is a big, huge state for the East. And then actually where they're going is the military academy, West Point, is in the state of New York. But it's kind of in a little smaller part. And you can see here New York City, big huge New York City's down the bottom, and it's kind of upstate on the Hudson River, right? I've flown over it. I've never been there. What is interesting for me is West Point always has the national orienteering competition for high schoolers. So we have a good orienteering team, but we've never flown our kids 2,000 miles out there for them, although I think we could do well. So anyway, up this river called the Hudson River, you actually get to a point called West Point, and this is actually on the river, right? Y'all see the river every day, right?
Every day.
Pretty cool.
It's frozen over right now.
It's frozen over now. We don't do that out west. And so anyway, they have an actually beautiful area. And one thing that's very neat about West Point, guys, is that it is old. Okay, and this is kind of, again, something we don't do out west, but you can see, look at the what their buildings look like. They're made of stone and granite? Granite.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're talking 1700s, right?
1802 is when it was founded.
1802. What were we doing in Arizona in 1802, guys? We're building mud huts, okay? And we're shooting everybody. We're arguing about Mexico. We're part of Mexico, I think, in 1802, right? And so it's a little different part of the world. When I say it's a different country, it's a different country. And so, yeah, look at how cool it is. It's we would think it's something like Europe, really, if you come out there. And it is absolutely beautiful. Yes.
I have a question for you two.
For me?
Yes.
Oh, for him or me?
Are you guys freshmen at West Point?
We are freshmen.
Yes.
Do you guys have to set up all the tables for the upperclassmen like they had, like the freshmen had to do last year as well?
We do.
Yes.
We do. We still have to do
Tell
that.
them about that orientation.
At the beginning of every meal, the plates, cups, and silverware are all set on the end where the freshmen or plebes will sit.
Tell them what that word was you just used.
Plebe is what the word we use for freshmen. Each class has a name. Freshmen are plebes. Sophomores are yucks or yearlings. Juniors are cows. And seniors are firsties.
And I know that at the Air Force Academy, the plebes are called doolies, which is means slave in another language or something. So it's like,
and where do you think the Air Force Academy, which is finished in what, 59?
Yeah.
Got the information from 1802 place.
So, yeah. So, you want me to keep
Keep
on?
going. Anything
All
you
right.
want to talk about?
Okay, so my high school experience was actually very unique. Academically, I was actually part of a cyber school. I'm actually the first individual that was cyber school to get into West Point. My graduating class, but however, I did activities. I swam 13 years growing up competitively. So I swam. I did activities, other extracurricular events through the local high school. Academically, in high school, it was pretty much of a breeze for me. But getting to West Point was a whole other ball game for me. It was a lot more difficult. What did I think of my life, or I would go with my life in ninth grade? In ninth grade, I knew I was not going to go to West Point or any sort of academy. I was dead set on not going into the military, and I was just going to have a normal college experience. That obviously changed over the next 3 years of my high school life. After looking at what West Point really was and the benefits that would follow thereafter, and the experience it would give me as an individual, I couldn't pass up on that.
How did you first find out about West Point?
My mom first told me about West Point. I come from a history of individuals in the Army. My dad, grandpa, great-grandpa, and so forth, all the way back to like my great-great-great-grandpa was in the Civil War. So I have a long history in the Army, and when I began looking at colleges as early as my freshman year in high school, because it all starts in high school, my mom just mentioned the name West Point, and when I looked into it, I was like, no, that's not for me, definitely not. I have no interest at all. But to kind of appease my mother's wishing, I went to the summer program they have before senior year, after junior year, called SLS, the Summer Leader Seminar. And after going to that and really experiencing a week of what West Point would be like, I realized I need to give this a second look. I really am interested in this. And over the course of my senior year, I completed the application to not just that academy. The summer program made me want to apply to all the academies, and I completed applications to all of them and ended up at West Point. So some misconceptions I had when I was young. Levi really hit on it on the standardized tests. When I was in 9th, 10th grade, I was like, who needs, I just need to take it once, get a mediocre score, and, go somewhere average, but you really want to push yourself to go beyond that. And looking back now, I'm ever so happy my mother pushed me to do that. She had me taking the SAT in 9th grade. So I took eight or nine standardized tests, multiple SATs and ACTs, and a PSAT. And looking back, I would have never been able to be where I am without really buckling down and studying for those tests, because that is a majority of what the West Point admissions office does look for. Some of my goals in life, I'm hoping right now my branch choice has changed multiple times since I've been at West Point, but at this point in time, I'm looking at into MI, or military intelligence, mainly because I view it as kind of the branch of the future. It's becoming more of like a psychological or mental war, or I feel like there's becoming less and less need for men on the ground as technology progresses. So I view that as kind of like a future branch. It's kind of what I'm hopeful for. And my major, I'm struggling between two choices, as Levi is, between civil engineering and math. I have not decided, and I need to, because I need to declare in a couple months. So.
You need to be a civil engineer.
Civil engineer, yeah, it's a very profitable market.
I'm a civil engineer, and my story, which I've told these kids, is I went to Georgia Tech, and the math got so intense the freshman year.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
I mean, there's no numbers; it's all variables. And
Exactly.
I like to build these things right here.
Yeah,
Civil engineering is more generic.
Exactly.
And you got a lot more tentacles to go off into. So I'm telling you, keep it simple. Be a civil engineer. It's concrete. And it's not the hardest major. It's about halfway.
Right, definitely.
It's not a chemical engineer. It's not nuclear engineering.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So the next question Colonel Peoples wanted us to cover was education and training that has helped our career. So I'll start with talking about that with high school. Leadership is huge for really anything you want to do, but especially in the military. I got a lot of my leadership skills through student council, but also I tried to always step outside of my comfort zone and go to different events, summer seminars, summer camps, where I was able to exercise some of those skills that I was learning throughout the school year. And also through athletics, being any type of team captain, or even if it's just helping somebody who's new to the sport, you're learning different types of leadership. And I think that's one of the biggest parts of being in the military, or especially at an academy. How did I end up in my profession? Well, I think I covered that with saying I knew I wanted to go to college, and I know that West Point was one of the best fits for me, one of the best choices, and I'm growing a lot, I'm learning a lot every day, and improving myself, and I think that beyond education is one of the biggest things that West Point and the other academies have to offer, is learning yourself, learning how to grow, and be a leader in the profession of arms. Some of my most memorable highlights of high school and of Prescott. I'm going to be completely honest, I remember graduation. Being able to reach the next milestone, know that I had completed one of my first goals, and making it to the next step, knowing I was going to college and going to continue my education. But besides that, spending time with my friends, building those types of relationships are absolutely fantastic. Look back on numerous memories with my friends, with my sports teams, with student council, any of those things. And even beyond school, just Prescott. I grew up here. It is my hometown. It always will be my hometown. And I do plan after my military career to move back here because I do love Prescott. I love this town.
Hey, you can open up an Army Junior ROTC and compete with us, man. I won't have to drive to the valley for everything.
But okay.
Go ahead and
So some of the education or training that helped me outside of high school. Education is kind of a weird word to describe what helped me, but more of the training. Different athletics or extracurriculars that I was involved in. Being from a cyber school, I wasn't really on student council, but I was part of the National Honor Society, part of different church groups and things of that nature. Holding key leadership roles really helped me to attain an appointment and help prepare me to what West Point is training me for. How did I end up here? It's really just I knew college was a must. I couldn't not go to college, of course. And a military aspect was something very intriguing to me, and West Point had both to offer. So that would be how I got where I am now. Some memorable highlights. As Levi said, graduation was a big one. One of my biggest ones was my senior night. Like I stated earlier, I've swam many years. And my senior night, standing on the block with my best friend, that was something I'll never forget for sure. And how did I end up in Prescott? I'm here with Levi over spring break. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I got in a plane and I flew. I have siblings back home and they're all still in school. My parents work and all my other friends are still in school. They're not back on spring break yet. So if I would have went back to Pittsburgh, I would have just been sitting at home. So it would have been much more enjoyable for me to come to Prescott. So that is what I did, and I'm talking to all you guys. So, what's next?
How about tell them about question, go ahead.
What were your guys' GPAs in high school?
My GPA in high school, I was the valedictorian. I had a 4.24 or 4.26, but since I've been at West Point, it's gone down quite a bit. So
What is it now?
it's a 2.8. The average is a 2.9 at West Point. So I have a 2.8. Levi's
Guys,
a little
when you go
smarter.
to college, in general, in college, your GPA is everything. Everything. It gets you jobs, my son is at a hard college on the East Coast, and his GPA determines everything. Every job he gets, every class. They don't even let him take other classes unless he has a high GPA. So here in high school, it's GPA and it's your test if you want to go to college afterwards. But if you want to go get a job and you're interviewing at Walmart or Target, they're going to say, hey, what kind of grade you made? Oh, I get along, I do fine. I'm an A kid. Who are they going to hire? You've got to be kidding me, okay? And then when they go to the military academies, like Grant Temple is going, Colleen Gonzalez is going to University of Southern Cal, and Garrett Smith is going to Embry-Riddle at Daytona Beach. It's not just your GPA. What else determines your rank?
Your physical and your military grades also go into that, but also like how you are with people and that sort of thing. There's many factors that come into that. I honestly don't even know my exact GPA at West Point. I'd rather not look at it because it scares me. But
the physical GPA for these guys is 1/3 of the deal. They have officership essentially, right, and physical fitness. So you can have a average GPA but be top-notch physical and top-notch officer, and you can be top kid. I mean, that's how it works. And what generally happens, at least the Air Force Academy, which I'm very familiar with, if the kid has got a perfect GPA, that kid's going to go get his master's at MIT or Oxford or be a doctor. But if he's a perfect, the story is, if he's a perfect officer, he may end up going to be George Patton, right?
Yeah.
Or Colin Powell. You know, so I mean, it just all depends on what your expertise is, right? The Naval Academy, right? The Naval Academy had a fantastic athlete. He didn't have a great GPA, he didn't have a good officership, but oh, by the way, David Robinson, he's in the NBA Hall of Fame from Naval Academy. You know, that's what happens.
yeah. So,
To answer your question, I had a 4.02, graduated from here, and I now have a 3.2, which is the Dean's List.
that's very good. 3.2 is very good.
What is the Dean's List at West Point?
If you're above a 3.0, you're on the
3.0.
Dean's list,
Well,
which
that's
means you're
exactly.
academic.
When I went to Georgia Tech, guys, I did pretty well in high school also, but the Dean's List was a B, 3.0. 3.0. So imagine if you guys had that here. How many people would be on the dean's list? You know, you have a good quarter, yeah, you're good to go. But I'm talking in college, it gets hard. It's hard.
And like I said, the average is 2.9, and I just know mine starts with a 2, and it's a little below average. So that's where I am. Levi's a little more intelligent. He pulls me through math and sciences. But yeah.
Talk to them about a normal day in school. What do you do? What time you wake up? What time you go to sleep?
So an average day for something that's mandatory, our first formation for breakfast is at 6:50. So most people will get up around 6:30, get their uniform on.
Are you guys roommates?
We are not roommates. We're not even.
Tell them about your roommates. Tell them how, where they're from.
My roommates are
His is much better.
very intelligent. They're both top 7 in the class, actually. They both have 407s and 402s are each of their GPAs. The one doesn't even really study. I mean, he's just naturally brilliant. I mean, they're very intelligent individuals, which makes me and a roommate a blessing and a curse, as in I'm never satisfied with any of my grades. But on the same note as they're helping me to get the grades I do have. So they are. The one is a core squad. He's a sprint football player. The other is on the orienteering team, which I know is very competitive at
Oh,
West
actually,
Point.
y'all do have an orienteering.
We do.
You don't call it land nav.
We do call it land nav, but the name of the team is orienteering.
Okay. And
So-
another thing, guys, you need to realize when you get out of your comfort zone in high school, how did you guys meet your roommates?
Oh, I met them when they said these are your roommates. so
It's not like when I assign a groups, they go, oh, I want to be in this group because my friends in this, that's not the way life is, okay? When you get out in the real world, the person you live with in the room, you walk up and say hi. That's it. Where are they from?
my roommate is from Chicago and North Carolina. My one actually spent a year at UNC. He didn't get into West Point the first time around, and he reapplied when he was at UNC and got an appointment the second time around. So yeah, they're from different parts of the country. It's really diverse, West Point. There's people comes from all over. And yeah, where are your roommates from?
So I also have 2 roommates. There's 3 of us living in my room. One is from Southern California, and he is a core squad gymnast. The other is from North Carolina, and he is very, very smart, as he was saying. And between the 3 of us, we have a good balance of everything from military to physical, and we're able to help each other out a lot and build relationships, friendships with each other, as well as helping each other. For example, on the APFT, I'm not great at push-ups. My roommate is. He can help me with that. I'm better with running, and I will often go on runs with him in order to help each other out. The way it's divided, you're assigned to a company. You'll live with that company, do mostly everything with that company besides your classes. And you'll switch roommates every semester, but you'll always be with people from your class in that company, in your company area.
Yeah, buddy.
That's your
Are
question.
you guys in the same company?
We are not in the same company, no. We had math class together. I was copying his notes, and so we started talking there, and then we had math assignments that were due, and we started meeting up in the library to work on those, and that turned into math and chemistry assignments, and more until we just became really good friends. So, yeah. But,
So if you guys are like really sick and you can't get out of bed or something like that, how do you deal with that? Like, you still have to go to class?
That's a good question.
no, it's called quarters. It's where you put in for a day. You just say you're sick, and you pretty much are just in bed for the day. You don't leave your room. If you're really smart, then you could just do your work because you already know it anyway. But usually you'd have to wait for your friend to kind of relay the information to you, or study it on your own or something to get to make it up, because there's no like make-up class days, or you're still responsible for the information you missed. So.
That actually brings up a good point. The way that information is taught, we use what we call the Thayer method, and essentially your homework is to learn the next day's lesson. And class time is for you to ask questions about that lesson. So the homework you're doing, for example, for math, you'll be doing, say, section, the first section in Chapter 2 as your homework, and class the next day, you'll be asking questions about the first section in Chapter 2.
Not like the teachers spoon feed and teach you like they do in high school. They expect you to show up and already know it and then ask questions. If you don't, too bad, right?
And they will talk and they will teach as you are supposed to know. So if you don't know it, you will really be at a loss because they roll right along like you've done all your homework. So doing homework's another big thing. I don't really know anybody that doesn't do homework except my one roommate who's just naturally knows everything. So yeah, in order to be successful, you do have to keep up with your homework every day, and it's a lot. I mean, at West Point, like I said, in high school, I didn't study for hardly. I mean, I'd have a test the next day, and I might study a little bit, but here I study like 3 hours a night. So easy, and that's the minimum. So there's a lot of studying. That's if we don't have any projects or anything. So
another question.
You guys said that when you were in high school, you guys were top students. Like, do kids go in? Do you think it's like a rude awakening? You go in, like,
oh yeah,
you study more, or like kids who weren't top students like have to like get in.
it was a very rude awakening for me personally. I mean, I did not expect it to be. I mean, I did expect it to be that bad, but on the same note, I still wasn't ready for it. You know what I mean? It's so different from high school. It's so much more rigorous, and especially at West Point. Not to downplay other schools, of course, but I mean, on top of the academics, you have mandatory athletics you have to do, military aspects.
Go through your whole day.
Okay, sure. So, first half of the day,
So, like I said, breakfast formations at 6:50 every morning. You'll go to breakfast. Class starts at 7:30. And your room needs to be in what we call AMI morning inspection by 8 o'clock. Basically, your room's clean, your beds are made, everything's neat, organized, your door's open. And they'll come in and inspect that sometime between 8 o'clock and noon. At about noon, you'll go to lunch formation, go to lunch. Everybody goes to lunch, you'll sit with your company, and after that we have 1 hour, which we call Dean's or Commandant's hour, depending on the day, alternates back and forth. Dean's hour we use for academics, so if there's a test, everybody will take the test at the same time during Dean's hour. You can also use it for studying, getting ahead or catching up on your homework. And Commandant's hour is generally we'll use for military training, for our briefs, or if there's nothing to do, same thing, get ahead or catch up on your homework. And class will end at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right, so after class ends, you go to some form of athletics. There's 3 levels of athletics at West Point. There's the core squad, which is what we call it. They're the NCAA sports, or the stuff you watch on TV, the football games, the swimming, the track and field. They're the extremely talented individuals at their given sport. Then below that is the club sport, which are competitive sports, but they may not be NCAA level, such as the orienteering team is a club sport. They have a handball team, club sport, different things that are more less competitive than NCAA, but still competitive to a degree. They practice every day, and it's up to that caliber. Then at the below that is company athletics for the rest of us. That's given a choice between in the fall, there are things such as flag football and wrestling and handball and things of that nature. And in the spring, which is going on right now, we have swimming and orienteering. I think that is orienteering. And there's a couple grappling,
flicker ball.
There's a couple others to choose from on that nature. But from 4:30 to 6 o'clock, that's the time allotted to do your given company athletic sport. That's what the majority of the Corps does, or the majority of cadets, do at West Point. I think they said it's like 60% do the company athletics, and it's actually really enjoyable. I mean, it is mandatory, but on the same note, you're out there, you're participating in some sort of physical activity, and you're having fun with your buddies. And even though it is mandated, and a lot of people complain about it, it is still enjoyable to a degree. And after company athletics, you have dinner from 6 to 7:30. It's optional dinners. You do or you don't have to go, depending on how much study you need to get done. And from 7:30 to 11:30 is evening study period, where you usually do all your homework. And you do homework in your free periods as well. Like, you have an hour off in the morning. You might want to do homework then, get caught up, get ahead, anything of that nature. So really that, and then at 11:30 is taps on weekends. Is when you go to bed, or weekdays when you go to bed. So in that nature. Yeah.
Was it hard to like adjust not having like your family around with you?
For me, it wasn't. No. A lot of people it was. I spent a lot of time, not like nights away from home, but out throughout the day. In high school, I'd leave in the morning and be back at night. Practices, and I had a job, and there were so much going on that I wasn't. And then I had retreats and stuff, on weekends. And I wasn't. I mean, in high school, I was more at my home to sleep. I was always out doing something, and that was primarily it. So for me, it was rough. It was. I'm not going to lie. I mean, you miss your parents and your siblings, and you do. But that wasn't the biggest factor for me. No.
And I agree. The adjustment wasn't difficult, especially going through Beast, which is our version of the basic training. Your mind's really occupied with the training, trying to learn everything, getting through the culture shock. So that being said, the transition really isn't difficult. But this is my third time home since July 1st. So sometimes, I'd like to be home a little more, but at the same time, I'm having a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it, and I, wouldn't trade it for more time at home.
That is one of the benefits to living closer to home. I've been home, I think, 6 or 7 times just for 3-day weekends. 6 times for 3-day weekends. Like anytime we had a break, I'd use a pass and go home. So yeah, it's.
What do you do on the weekends?
Yeah.
On the weekends, it depends on the weekend. On duty weekends, like I don't know if you guys watch college football, but for the Army games, the home games, we have to be in attendance. There's parades, so you have to practice for the parade so we can look good in front of whoever we're parading in front of. But outside of duty weekends, for any given week, SAMI, there's what we know as SAMI. That's another duty weekend. It's when your room has to be in like pristine condition. Like it has to be fantastic. Like dusted and everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be perfect. And that's on Saturday mornings, but that's only twice a semester. But outside of your duty weekends, it's really your time to just relax, catch up. We sleep in, hang out with friends, get caught up in homework, do your assignments, projects, whatever you have to do. Weekends are really more like your time, and they intend to make it that way. So. Yeah, I know you've had a question for a little while. I saw your hand up.
When you make your beds, do you have to make the quarter bed?
Hospital corners? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do.
I went to YLC, that's what we had to do.
Yeah. We have to make those. So.
Can you guys live off campus?
Yes.
To a degree.
As a plebe, you're nobody.
As a plebe, you can go.
So after you grow up in second, third, fourth year, yes.
You can walk within 5 miles off campus as a plebe, and there's nothing within 5 miles. So if you really want to, walk out into the woods 5 miles away,
You have to be in uniform too, right?
Yes.
You
It's
have to wear
uniform
this.
anytime you leave.
This is not an enjoyable uniform to wear. Nobody likes wearing this uniform.
Enough to wear that and my what grade you're in?
No, this is primarily a plebe uniform. I mean, I've almost never seen upperclassmen in this uniform. Very rarely. If you have hours, you do something wrong, you get in trouble, you get hours, and you have to wear this. But other
It's
than
one of
that,
the more formal uniforms we wear. There's only one higher uniform.
outside of plebe year, you'll wear this like 2 or 3 times a year, like almost never.
Right.
So something to look forward to.
You have to wear that every day.
No, thank God, no. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
this is primarily a weekend uniform, and if you're leaving post or for semi-formal events. During class, Monday, Thursday, and Friday, we wear as for class, which is the same pants and a dark blue shirt. If you wear the long sleeve version, you wear it with a tie. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we wear the Army Combat uniform.
Which is just ACs, or
Yeah,
I saw some kid walking around in them, so you probably know what they look like.
Not fall.
What is that ribbon for?
We were just awarded this actually. We're
This
apparently
past
weekend.
weekend. It's the National Defense Medal. Basically, you earn it for joining in a time of war.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah.
So does everybody have one of those? Since
Everyone currently, yeah. The portal, they opened certain portals to give out this ribbon to members. I think it was opened from Vietnam on. It started in Vietnam, and then there were a couple minor, and then it opened on September 11th 2001 when the 9/11 incident happened, and the date has not yet closed to stop giving these out. It's for anyone that joins in between that time span. So there will be a date it closes, and then these will stop being distributed. So, and then reopening again whenever next war happens. So.
Okay, we have about 10 minutes. Questions? Heather, ask him a question.
Do you guys, do like obstacle courses and stuff?
Yes,
That's a
we
great
do.
question.
That's a really good question.
There's a graduation requirement. We call it the Indoor Obstacle Course Test, or IOCT. You learn how to run it during your Department PE class your freshman year. Consists of a low crawl, running through a set of tires on the ground, jump over a hurdle, and then climb up onto a shelf, which is about 7 feet off the ground. You'll run across about a half-inch steel pipe, jump through a tire, cross a balance beam with a roll at the end, cross a ranger wall, up a rope onto another shelf. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot the monkey bars. Up a rope, cross shelf, and then you'll run about a quarter mile, a part of it with a medicine ball and a baton.
You have to do all of this on under 3:30 to pass. It's a graduation requirement. And if you go 2:30 or faster, or 2:35 or something, it's called tabbing it, and you get an actual little patch for your PT uniform that says you're an excellent IOCT runner. So, question over here.
When I went there, after we had the lunch, everyone formed up into elements. I'm not sure, was it for roll call or... Because they all were formed up into elements and they were calling out names. But I don't know if it was for roll call, or if it was just a special occasion.
Was that before or after?
After lunch.
I don't know anything about after. If it was before, that'd be formation, but I'm not sure what the after event was.
Might have been
I'm not
before.
familiar with any.
If it was before, then it's just a regular formation. You have those every day before lunch. And people that get called to the back for various reasons, just so that they can be informed about whatever they need informed on.
The idea is to disseminate information to take accountability, is the main purpose of the lunch formation.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been there.
No, that's...
What kind of social life can you have?
How
easy is it to date?
How easy is it today? Okay. They asked us, we call it cadating at West Point. It's like the dating between cadets. It is there. It is not too prevalent. I do know some individuals that do. You can't date out of rank, or it's considered fraternization. And actually, Levi will give a story in a second about 2 kids that just got caught for fraternization. But there are couples that do date there. It's not really. I mean, it's kind of frowned upon a little bit. Sort of. I don't know why. It's just one of those things that's kind of breaks from the professional unity. I don't know. I'm regurgitating what they tell me. So, but I definitely do know individuals that do date, and it is there. So,
Right.
How many girls? That's a good question.
20% of the core is what they're upping it to girls. So there's 1,000 of us, or 1,050 of us right now. So there's about, a fifth of that would be 200 girls. Yeah. So.
Right. And with the fraternization David talked about, it's not just in dating type relationships. It also includes non-professional relationships. So that could include something like going to a movie with somebody outside of your rank. And that's really the only thing I have to add.
Yeah.
Based on.
Yeah. So that's just something you want to avoid. Keep it professional. It's outside of your rank. So any other questions?
But with that being said, people in your class, you will form probably some of the strongest friendship bonds that I've seen, that I've experienced. It really is something different that is hard to explain to somebody that may not have experienced something like it before.
One thing I want to emphasize is that when you get into this level, outside of high school, remember, in fact, I just talked to middle schoolers yesterday. Middle school, you can fail English. And are you going from 6th grade to 7th grade?
Yeah.
Sure. When you get to high school and you fail English, what's going to happen?
You're going to the next grade, but you have to
You're telling me and all your buddies that you love English because you're going to take it again. And so then you get to college or after high school, And what happens when you fail English?
Okay, so well, if you fail, the way it works is if you fail one class, they'll work with you. They'll this is over the entire 4 years. So if you fail one class, they'll work with you. They'll really try to help you understand it and work with you. Take it again until you pass it.
No, but you're kind of
take it
lazy
one
and
time.
you fail it again.
You fail it again, you get kicked out. You fail it twice, they will kick you out of the academy, and it
How
has
much is your scholarship worth at the academy?
$400,000.
So if you're lazy, like once, they may give you a second chance. But if you're lazy twice, why would they give you a second chance when they're trying to make you a leader of America? They're giving you a $400,000 scholarship. What about if you cheat? Levi turns you in for cheating and you go, oh, you know what, I was tired, I just came back from Prescott, I was cheating. Well, are they going to be real understanding of that?
The honor code is a cadet will not lie, cheat, steal, nor tolerate those who do. If you lie, cheat, steal, or tolerate meaning you know somebody who did it, you will more than likely be kicked out.
Yeah, the only exception might be is if you're a plebe. They do have leeway with plebes because you're freshmen and you're still learning, but it'd have to be like if it's a blatant offense, you will be kicked out. And if you're above a plebe, they'll kick you out.
But that being said, there's a lot that you have to do in order to recover from breaking the honor code. I don't know exactly what happens, but the minimum punishment, I know you'll be walking hours. You'll get a mentor. The mentor will help you write reflective essays and help you to learn what you did wrong and start to become more of a leader of character.
So guys, in high school, you may get a second chance. All right, you guys are here and you're going to party out in the forest and you're around your buds who are smoking pot. And you
you're gone.
Test, what happens?
Yeah, you'll be
$400,000 gone.
And you don't know when it's coming. They wake you up in the middle of the night and say, all right, time to get your analysis. So I see tons of questions. Just throw them out, yeah.
Do you get hazed and do you have to be like a firsties grunt person that does everything for them?
No, they aren't allowed to haze you per se, but they can make you do stuff. So
there are duties that we're expected to do, things like greeting, walking along the walls with your handcuffs, no talking outside, things of that nature, but not hazing.
You guys said that the cadet honor code was, I will not lie, cheat, or steal, nor tolerate any of those who do.
Yeah.
What is your other one? Is it also integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do?
Those are core values. What's the Army core value?
Oh, the leadership thing, the loyalty,
Right,
duty, service, selfless service,
honor,
honor,
respect,
integrity, and
self-service.
personal responsibility.
Similar but different from the Air Force. Last question.
Do you have on-campus medical facilities?
We do. There's a hospital. They definitely do.
hospital, dental clinic, medical clinic.
I actually went to.
They get paid to go to college. This is one of the few places in America that you get paid to go to college. They buy his underwear and his shoes and his socks and gives him money. Okay. The day you graduate, you become a second lieutenant, right? Mm-hmm. Sure. And how much do second lieutenants make right now?
$36,000.
$36,000.
But it goes up quickly. Yeah, it's $36,000 all.
Room 10 high. You're gonna do great things. Dismissed.